Hello, my love, and welcome to the Messages from Heaven podcast. I'm your host, Jeannie Street, and in today's episode, we are going to be talking about breaking through your blocks, aligning with your truth, and embracing abundance. So, in this episode, we're going to dive into all the blocks that hold you back from living in your truth and help you to embrace your God given abundance. So, whether you're a healer or a coach or a service provider or someone who's just feeling stuck in their life, you're struggling to be in the receivership of what God has promised for you, and possibly you're not able to connect with those clients, or you're finding yourself wondering when the opportunities or when it's going to be your turn to have that success that you know in your body that you've had that vision, and you wonder when that's going to come into fruition. So this is your episode. So in this conversation, I'm going to dive into how you can heal the separation from your true self, that beautiful identity of your soul, to be in your authority, to realign with your purpose and the passions and the things that God has put inside of you uniquely, to work in this world, to serve and to help and just to live fully with joy and happiness. So let's start with leaning into what are the most common struggles that women that I work with, the women that I've been in community with, are struggling in relationship to what they're supposed to do next. What are they meant to do with all of these gifts? Why isn't there abundance coming? Why aren't they getting clients? Why isn't the needle moving in their lives? So the first thing I want to tell you, the most common struggle is leaving the body. The most common struggle that I see with healers is they leave their body in order to meet the world, someone on the outside where they're at. So this can look like people pleasing. This can look like giving your power to another person, and it's not ever on purpose. So what I want to start with is right there is like, we don't step into those areas where we are leaking our energy out in, like, we didn't enter that on purpose. You entered that in a phase in your life when things were really challenging and difficult. Most likely in your childhood. Most likely you learned to read the room, read the energy of an adult, an authority figure, and in order to stay safe, happy, healthy, whatever the indicator was for you, you learned to adjust who you were according to their energy. And that innocence, it's really beautiful. It's innocent. You didn't do it on purpose, but has overflowed into areas of your life now in the adult version of you where it's not serving, it's not helping, and it's not protecting you. It's actually giving away your most valuable resource, which is your frequency. So that's the first step. So how do we really understand our main challenge, right? So you may think, hey, I just want more money. I want more clients. I just want to know my soul's purpose. And I'm going to be in communion with you in a relationship, whether we're in my class or we're doing one-on-one work. And I'm going to be like, this isn't about the external thing. This is an internal thing, because the value system that you have is depleted. Your value system has been stripped away of it being vibrationally high. So if we talk about soul authority for just a minute, soul authority is when you are in true alignment with your place here on earth, with who God says you are, and you are holding your energy in accordance to God's will, not of your own. This means that you've done the work that I always talk about to heal the blocks, the pains, the trauma, And so when we start to evolve, and I know that you've done a lot of work, and I really want to commend you on putting forth, so many healers lean in and we pour ourselves into work like it's our job, because it is, right? You come into the world and you experience things that are really uncomfortable. So I'm sure you've done plenty of therapies and you worked with the healers, but this is the missing piece, right? In your soul authority, in your truth, in your high frequency, when you continue to give away your resource, not on purpose, but because it's habit, you are depleting, and that's creating a block. It's creating a block because where you're empty, you cannot attract, because it's like a blank slate. So if you can think of it like filling up with this most beautiful color, let's just use pink. So from tip of the toes all the way to the top of your head, if you could imagine that you could fill your body with the most beautiful bright pink light, and that light filled every nook and cranny of your body. This is perfect connection, right? This is divine, holy. You're filled with the Holy Spirit. You have the source of your true self inside of your body, and you are not exiting to read the room in any way, shape, or form to make sure that you're safe, to make sure that someone likes you, or whatever the situation is. Now, with this energy inside of you, you can call in without doing much work. It's easeful. What is actually meant for you, because you are now a match for it. But when you have a block, it is a space that's filled with something, and that something is usually an emotion. It's usually a feeling that has been repressed, something that is stuck inside of you. So what are blocks? They move through our energy centers, and they are created there. And why are energy centers? So we can do a whole nother podcast on that, but I want to touch really quickly on this. Your energy centers are how you connect with the world, right? So you receive inside of your body and you read with your senses, right? So you sense the world, you see something, you feel something, and then you bring it in through the energy center, and it's there that you can start to move with that energy. That's why we go off of feeling, right? Most healers are deep feelers. Empaths, we can call that sensitive soul, whatever. And so they learn to exit their body. Typically, healers go through the gut, because this is the part that's really awakened inside of them. This is the part that God has called them to be, the person that's the healer, to have the knowing in their body, the wisdom of God's voice inside of you. Well, this is the part you start exiting out and going through either the sacral or the solar plexus energy center in order to read the room. And so your foundation, your very foundation of being able to feel connected to your body, starts to be in flux. You start to think, you start to take other people's energy and believe that it's yours. That's the contradiction. And then you lose sight, and not really, like, you lose the connection to your truth. Like, who am I? What do I feel? So the first step in understanding your block is pausing. It is coming into the body. And when you come into your body, what happens is you start to resource and ask, does this feel good to me? Now, if you've been in therapy, and you probably ended up like me in some scenarios where your therapist is like, how do you feel? And you're like, I don't know. Raise your hand if you're an I don't know girl. I'm not really sure how I feel about that. I actually said to my therapist way back when I first started going to therapy, I'm like, I feel numb. And I love her. She was like, Jeannie, that's not a feeling. And I'm like, great. Where am I? And that's when that was my cue in that something was happening. I wasn't trusting my own wisdom. So I did what I do. I asked my angels to help me. And I got on my knees and I'm like, God, I don't understand. What is going on here? Why can I do my work so brilliantly, but I don't even know what I feel in my body? And that's when they started to teach me that I was outside of my own authority. I was outside of my truth, and I had all of these blocks from the experiences and by micromanaging energy. So let's talk really quickly about micromanaging energy. When we learn to exit our body as a child to make sure, oh my gosh, am I safe? Is this adult angry with me? We read the room, we come back in, we adjust our behaviors, and then all of a sudden we start to lower our frequency to meet them where they are. We lower our truth, and that creates the block. And then you aren't in your true integrity because you were a light. You were happy and go lucky and free, but you had to do something different. That's what you thought needed to happen because that was the intelligence at the time. And now, as an adult, when you do this, you teach other people how to treat you based on your own managing of energy. And you'll make decisions in relationships based on what you think will happen. And then it creates a whole bunch of worry and cycling of energy where you aren't in your truth and you're questioning. And one of the biggest ways you can notice if this is you is if you're getting on the phone, it's you're texting a friend and you're asking, what do you think? And you start giving away your power again because you aren't sure, you aren't positive, you don't have the guidance system lit up. It's there, but it's sleeping to trust your wisdom. And so you're looking for somebody else who has an authority voice, just like when you were a child. Their voice became the authority and you adjusted to fit in. You adjusted to be safe. And so now you're looking for that in the outside world, in your current relationships, in the relationships that have been broken. You can take a look and really, if you're very clear with yourself, if you're true to yourself, you can see where you gave your power away in some of these instances. So the invitation here is the actionable step of pause. I can't say it enough. It's so important to pause. I love hand on the chest and hand on the belly, just on the heart center and between the solar plexus and the sacral to really come into your truth and ask your body, does this feel right and good? Start with that. Start with that one thing and practice being in that, asking your body, how does that feel? Catch yourself if you go to your brain. Catch yourself in the habit of leaving or trying to get the answer on the outside or seeking with your senses on the outside, and be in your body. So when we start wanting to work with our gifts or have our channel be really open, because I know so many of you are beautiful channels, but your channel is blocked because you aren't trusting the wisdom. And the wisdom isn't of you, it's of God. And it can't come through, can't break through all those blocks until you sit and do this work, until you sit with yourself and you become one with your body. So there's an invitation that I have for you today. The invitation is, if you feel like you want to go further, if this feels like it really matters to you, like learning about soul authority, learning about how you move through this world as a sensitive channel, healer, intuitive, medium, whatever it is that you label, you call yourself, that God has called you to be, and you aren't having the abundance, you aren't feeling filled up, then this is the calling. This is the calling to do something different. I have created a brand new program based on the principles of living in soul authority. And so this program is different than anything I've done before because typically I teach healing work or I teach mediumship methods. But in this program, we're going to focus on soul authority. And I know with all that I am that this is going to be the breakthrough for you, and it's going to make so much sense. So if this feels like the room you need to be in, I've got all the information in the show notes. I would love for you to be in the room, to be in this community, and know that this 6-week program, 6 weeks, it's a deep dive. These are 90-minute calls, and you are going to get everything that you need to break through the barrier to your own abundance. This is what I'm offering. So we begin on January 31st. If this feels like it is you, like you're ready, you want to step in, you want to be in that room, follow the link below, reach out to me personally, leave me a comment below, and I will reach out to you. I will answer all of your comments. I thank you so much for being here, being in this community. If you haven't already subscribed, please do so. If you haven't left a review, it means everything to me that you do, and it lets other people get this healing work that is so important. I hope that you have a most magnificent day. Know that you are loved unconditionally. I would so appreciate for you to subscribe to this podcast and to leave me a review. I hope you have a beautiful day. God loves you, my friend. God bless you.